mindset again, right? I know I already said that, but mindset extends beyond just real estate. For me, I like to have full balance in my life. So when I incorporate balance, it means eating healthy, having a healthy schedule, meaning you're giving yourself free time so you're not too stressed out. Just balance in all pillars will help you create the mindset that is necessary to have success. I mean, I can't even imagine having chaos all around me and then still trying to have focus. It doesn't work well for me. I don't know if that's a Virgo thing or what, but I believe in clear mind, clear surroundings equals success.
Yana, thank you for joining me on our Thought Leader Spotlight series. I'm your host over here, Matt Camp, head of partnerships at DealMachine. And on these, we really like to shine an industry spotlight on experts like yourself, really hear your inspiring stories and educate our audience on where you see the world going. So today,
Wow.
really excited to welcome on Yana Epps. You have over 20 years of experience in real estate. You've done lending, wholesaling, rehabbing, interior design, and you're an agent, like you've done it all. You also have an ownership interest in over 200 multifamily units. You also are on a personal mission to really enable and inspire others to build wealth and to really realize their own financial freedoms using real estate. So I'm really excited. Welcome on.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me. Yes, I think you touched on a lot of the key points of my real estate career and history. So, as you mentioned, I got started in real estate over 20 years ago. My first job was actually working for a lender. Back then, you didn't even need a license, which was probably part of the bigger problem in 2008. But now I'm also a lender. I started back in 2000 as a lender. I got my real estate license in 2009, I want to say, mostly because I was growing up in a family with a lot of real estate transactions happening, and I was kind of exposed to it from a young age. So that's really how I gained an interest in real estate. My grandparents were investors, specifically multifamily and single family investors. I've watched a lot of other people in my family do real estate development. And I just thought it would be a good idea to get my license so that I could at least represent some of them in their transactions. And I did that. And all the while having a full-time job, I must mention that. So I've also been gainfully employed by AT&T for almost the last 20 years. So I'm a marketing manager as well. But
Oh, nice.
real
Yeah.
estate was just a kind of a way for me to make use of some spare time that I had and kind of make some additional income to build my own rental portfolio eventually.
Mhm. Love it. Can you maybe talk about kind of the first deal you did on the real estate side, like how you broke into it? And I know a lot of people, I mean, you've done quite a bit in real estate, but a lot of people watching this are probably newbies or earlier on in their real estate investing journey and really curious on like getting over that hump for the first one, you know?
Yeah, it's just like you said, getting over that hump. I think the first time you do a deal, it just propels you and gives you a lot of momentum because you see that's possible. So I'm going to speak on maybe my first investment deal
Yeah,
because
that'd be
that
great.
one meant a lot to me and it actually involved DealMachine. So um,
Awesome. Love that. Yeah.
yeah, so as after being an agent for about 10 years or so, I decided to take a closer look at how to get started building my rental portfolio. And I did some research. I would spend a lot of late nights learning about wholesaling and specifically. And I was also getting ready to purchase a franchise called Homevestors. We buy ugly
Mhm.
homes. And I was introduced to a greater community that could kind of show me the way of doing wholesaling on my own without buying that particular franchise. And I'm kind of glad I did. Nothing against home investors, but I'm just very happy that I didn't invest that much money in a franchise. And I've been able to build a business on my own. So I kept doing research and I downloaded DealMachine, which was introduced to me by, I believe it was originally introduced to me at Max Maxwell's We Live, maybe
Yeah, we live.
19 conference. Yeah.
Nice.
And I met David there and I talked to him in the lobby. I downloaded the app. And then when I got home, I was driving past a lot that I would always pass, and it was a vacant lot. And I always looked at it, but I was like wondering specifically now that I had this app, I wonder if I could get a hold of the owners to find out why it's vacant. Maybe they want to sell it. And I was doing that with a lot of different homes. I was also having other people upload pictures of homes for me and addresses. And with this particular lot, I remember it was only about a week later from the time that I went to the property, held my phone, took a picture of the property, which, as you know, DealMachine will upload that picture, put it on a postcard, send it directly to the owner. And a week later, I got a call from the owner's daughter. She wanted to meet with me at their house with her dad. And I walk in, it's like the whole family, lots of support for their dad, who was in his 90s. So I could see why they wanted to be there and represent him.
Mhm.
Sat down at the kitchen table and did some negotiating. Finally came up with a fair price. Turns out they weren't really interested in keeping the land. It was more of a burden and hassle than anything. They had tried to build on it once upon a time, but they ran into some issues with the variance process. I went back to the city and tried to build on the land myself after I got it in contract. I ran into the same issue, and I wasn't familiar with the process, and I was a little bit nervous to even put down the price that it costs to apply for the variance. I was thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to wholesale this thing. So I went to my mom and we were talking, and she mentioned like a developer that is represented by my sister, and said that he might be a good fit to buy the land. And so reached out to him, met him at the land, and he bought my interest in that contract like within hours. So that was my first wholesale deal, and I think what did I make? About $10,000, quick and easy.
Love it. Nice. That's exciting. And I mean, I know you've been jumping into the wholesale side. It sounds like, over the years now, while also maintaining that day job too. Can you maybe talk through the lessons you've learned there? If there's plenty of people who are watching this as well that maybe have their day job and they're trying to transition out of that, or at least supplement it with real estate. Like, can we talk through advice you have there on how to pull that off?
I don't know that I've successfully pulled it off. I feel like I've been going crazy, but fortunately, I have been able to manage two or three careers for the last 15 years. So, um, yeah, I guess I am successful at it. And my first tip to anyone who's thinking about um, having more, doing more with your life is just make the decision in your head first. Make the decision that you want more. I hear a lot of people say sometimes they don't have the time, they don't have spare time, but I'm not a Netflix person. I'm not even a TV person. So I think if you really want time, you can find time. And it starts with mindset. The first investment you can make is in yourself, taking any additional opportunity that you have to learn, read, study, shadow, be a mentee. Those are the things that got me to the next level where I felt like I had the confidence to actually take the next step. So picking up books and maybe sacrificing a little bit of your party time or friends time to actually invest in yourself and have the knowledge, because without the knowledge you're going to miss a lot of opportunity. I pride myself in I'm not an expert in every single strategy, but I like to understand a little bit about every single strategy so that if there is an opportunity that presents itself, I won't be so naive that I can't even recognize it.
That's a great tip. One thing, I mean, I know you have your background between, like, you've got the wholesaling, the lending side, all the design side, all of that. The agent piece is one thing we do hear or get questions on pretty often, and I know you're wholesaling as well. Do you recommend for the newbie to go get their being an agent as well, go get their license, or what are the pros and cons of that? Like, can you talk through like that process for people?
You're right. That is a big one, because part of my job right now is agent outreach. I network with a lot of realtors to find
Uh-huh.
deals, and there is kind of a gap when it comes to switching hats, if you will, because as a realtor, as an agent, you have a fiduciary duty to represent a buyer or a seller. But as a wholesaler, you are actually an investor, and you have to understand the difference. And I don't think there is a benefit necessarily to being a licensed agent, other than you might obviously understand the process of a purchase transaction a little bit better. However, it
Mhm.
is very important to have full disclosure when you're representing yourself in a transaction, and make sure that whoever you're talking to does not feel like you are there on their behalf. Because really, if you're an investor, you are keeping your own interest first, to be honest. So
Yep.
a lot of people have kind of a hard time kind of grasping that concept to switch gears, but it's possible to do both as long as you're fully transparent.
Yeah, It's a really good tip and approach for people. Yeah, and then I know we talked a little bit before this about your kind of multifamily approach and how you're involved in that space. Can you maybe talk through your maybe a little bit of your playbook there of, hey, here's how I'm getting involved there, here's why I'm getting involved there, the why people should consider multifamily as a investment vehicle too.
Sure. So I knew the whole time I started my real estate career that I was going to be a multifamily investor. For me, I want to get to a certain number. I think everybody has their income replacement number that they have in their head that will allow you to not trade your time for money anymore. If I get to that level, then I won't have to go to work or pay attention to any corporate responsibilities. I could actually spend my time with my family the way I want to, creating memories. And
Mhm.
that's important to me. So to me, it just has to do a lot with economies of scale. Like you all play the game Monopoly, right? So ultimately you're trading the houses up to the hotels. And it's the same concept in real life because when you have multifamily investments, not only does it mitigate your risk because you have a larger asset, which produces more income, which means there's less of an impact when there's vacancies and um, less maintenance fees and all kinds of things that factor in. But you also don't have to worry about the geographic disbursement of all of your investments and who's managing what. And it just kind of consolidates everything for ease in my mind. And I was only wholesaling so that I could actually build up additional capital to keep
Mhm.
purchasing more multifamily assets. And in fact, I'm in the process of purchasing one this week, hopefully. Another
Oh,
200
nice.
doors.
Yeah, by the time this goes live, we'll congrats. Love it.
So,
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like you had quite a plan for yourself and like understand, how to reinvest in your business and like, like you said, wholesale to parlay that into multifamily and things. I know one of your main areas that you're just very passionate in is that kind of better money management and really teaching people how to better manage their money. So can you maybe talk a little bit more on, why you're so passionate about that and then share a couple of pro tips for people on like, maybe things they should be thinking about or common mistakes you see. That would be great if you don't mind.
yeah. So, as you mentioned, it is a passion of mine to promote and evangelize financial literacy. I come from an underserved community, obviously, and I think it's not only a responsibility, but a duty of mine to actually make sure I give this information back. I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money investing in knowledge. And now that I have this information, what do I do with it? Sure, it helps me, but how can I help other people? That is my passion. So it's not just about me being successful, but it's about making an impact in my community. It's about making an impact in general. And it's about being a part of the movement. I think we all can agree that right now it seems like even younger people are taking interest in finances, not the way they were when I was younger. We were worried about a lot of different things, but not financial things. And I think now with social media platforms and the way information spreads so quickly, that a lot of children, I'll call them young adults, are getting influenced by that rapidly and they're starting to take an interest. So that is really who I love to target and work with so that I mean, obviously, if I'm raising capital for multifamily opportunities, typically GPs work with high net worth individuals, but not everybody's there yet. So, how do we get more people into those positions? How do we get people to change their mindset? How do we get people to have a better relationship with money so that they can save and then learn to invest? I think that getting people from the point of financial insecurity to at least being able to manage their bills and start to save and have financial freedom ultimately is part of my responsibility. So, what I've done to give myself a platform is I've been hosting meetups. And that's something that I started way back in 2019. Recently, I actually started, I aligned myself with Multifamily Masters because they have a national network of multifamily investors.
Mhm.
And I've been hosting the San Francisco and Sacramento chapters for that network as well. So every month we try to do a live webinar or a live event in person that brings educational content to the masses. So it could be anything from tax strategy to, um, you name it, like insurance, underwriting, anything related to real estate investment. And sometimes we even talk about things that are not related to multifamily, because I too do believe in diversification. So we talked about short-term rentals recently. I have someone coming on next week to talk about assisted living and how you can build a business that incorporates real estate investing and assisted living. So there's all types of ways to make money. But I think the first thing is just getting people to understand that some of the things we spend money on aren't necessarily beneficial. And if you can differentiate yourself and you can have the mindset that these things don't matter to me, because ultimately what I'm saving towards and what I'm building is going to be way more beneficial to me than anything I could drive right now or wear right now or carry on my shoulder. It's a bigger it's a bigger mission.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of what you're talking about goes back to mindset and how you're approaching life, how you're approaching your finances. I don't want to run too far over on you today, but do you mind leaving us with maybe for the young people watching this, like a couple of, two or three tips that would be a great way to start them off in terms of their money management and how to maybe shift their mindset a little bit of how to think about that?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is get a mentor. I'm a huge proponent of mentorship. It could be free mentorship, it can be paid mentorship, but learn from someone else's mistakes. Even though you're supposed to, kind of dive right in and not have analysis paralysis, you have to learn any strategy that you're going to take interest in before you do it. However, you can also have the guidance of a mentor to help protect you from some potentially large losses. So I did that. I joined a mastermind about 4 years ago. It was a $30,000 mastermind, but looking back, maybe I didn't initially see that it was money well spent, but definitely looking back, I think it really was, because not only did it give me a network and a community to rely on, but it also taught me a lot, and is really well worth it. So mentorship, um, mindset again, right? I know I already said that, but mindset extends beyond just real estate. For me, I like to have full balance in my life. So when I incorporate balance, it means eating healthy, having a healthy schedule, meaning you're giving yourself free time so you're not too stressed out. Just balance in all pillars will help you create the mindset that is necessary to have success. I mean, I can't even imagine having chaos all around me and then still trying to have focus. It doesn't work well for me. I don't know if that's a Virgo thing or what, but I believe in clear mind, clear surroundings equals success.
Love it. Well, this has been phenomenal, Yana. I really, really appreciate your time. Can you maybe give people a way to connect with you and be able to follow up with you and get involved with everything you're doing?
Yes, absolutely. So my website is therealpropertyprincess.com. If you are interested in any type of passive investment opportunities, I'm actually looking to start a customizable fund this year, which means that you'll have an opportunity
Awesome.
to go in there and choose different assets so you can diversify your investment. And I also do wholesaling, which incorporates helping distressed sellers out of situations. So if you're interested in either of those, you can find that on my website. Or if you're a cash buyer that wants to join my buyers list, you can find that there as well. You can also join my meetups. If you go to meetup.com and search for San Francisco Multifamily Masters, or if you're in the Sacramento area, I have one there as well. Or if you're virtual, there's a lot of webinars that we host as well. So I think just being a part of the community is still beneficial if you're not local. And then lastly, if you're on Facebook, you can join my Facebook community, which is called Real Estate and Investment Strategies, where we try to share a lot of content as well.
Perfect. Well, we'll link to all that below here. We also have free resources on how to scale your real estate investing business. We'll link to that below here too. But Yana, really, really appreciate your time. This was great.
Thank you for the opportunity, man. I really appreciate it. DealMachine means a lot to me because you guys were a part of my journey, as I mentioned. Oh, and the one thing I'll say before I go is that we didn't mention how that particular land turned into development, which my sister brokered and my other younger sister staged and designed. So the video that we
That's
made a
awesome.
couple of weeks ago kind of shows how all three of us had a part in a real estate transaction. that stemmed from DealMachine, and we all made money. So
There we
I'll
go.
drop
Get the
that
whole
later
family
if
involved.
anyone's interested.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, really, really appreciate that. Appreciate the shout outs and everything too. But thanks again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. To everyone watching, this is Matt Camp over here with Deal Machine, and happy deal finding.